So I thought it was about time to sort of update the channel a little bit and make some changes because I've graduated from graphic design, and on top of that I thought it'd be really good if I could manage to make everything cohesive without having them all under the same name. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome, or welcome back. If you didn't know, I spent the past 2 years sort of learning graphic design and actually finishing for a piece of paper, which has been great. It has been a very different experience than university, but that's not what we're here to talk about right now. I have been running this channel for a while, and it always felt a bit strange in a way. I felt like across all of my social media, there wasn't really a branding or a cohesive identity. So let's talk about rectifying it. It's sort of like a weird throwback to when I did speed paintings because you watch me record digitally, but it's not really a speed painting because it's all vectorized. The beautiful thing about Illustrator. With that being said, so when I did my portfolio for graphic design, and maybe we'll do a tour of my first ever graphic design portfolio, when I did that, I had this little doodle of me that I made to represent myself and sort of be like the brand identity for that portfolio. And with that in mind, I was sort of thinking back to this channel and how much of identity and how much I've done in this channel that is very much me. But the thing is that I didn't really know what direction this channel would be going in, and I didn't really have an identity for it. And since it's been so long, I thought it would be a good time to update it. And that being said, I took the doodle and I vectorized it, so that is my own drawing from pencil to paper and then now digitally. And then I was trying to figure out what type of aesthetic or what did I want to portray through the visual branding of this channel. This channel is sort of heading towards a more creative way and also a bit more in-person type of videos. So with that being said, I wanted to sort of keep with a playful vibe, but I also wanted to feel like the possibilities are endless in a way, keep it a bit more minimalistic, so then that way it's not really keeping inside this box and this container that is going to bind me to a certain niche, I guess, in a way. I didn't want to just be bound to speed paintings only. With that being said, I didn't really know what type to use for like headings or even just for the logo. So I thought, well, I already hand drawn the little icon. Why don't we also try doing hand drawn type? I had a lot of fun with this actually. It was quite interesting because I didn't really know how to make fonts, and I got to use Font Forger, and I sort of got to learn a few things about it, and although this font isn't exactly perfect and I do need to adjust things with it, I got to learn how to make and format my files so then it can be transferred into the Font Forger, which is the app that I use to make the fonts. The nice thing was that since I dipped my toes into this, in the future, if I do want to go back to trying to make fonts, I can do so, which is great. Now, with that being said, I sort of had to figure out what the heck this brand was about. If you have been around here for a little bit, you'll know that the branding is actually a bit more of creativity. I really wanted to highlight that this channel can sort of do a bit of everything, and it's just another creative outlet for me to figure out what kind of things do I like to create, maybe try out different mediums. And when I try out different mediums, or I try to push my editing skills and videography skills and things like that, the hope is that it will encourage other people to try to find their own creative outlet. So with that being said, there were like some little things that were really fun to do with branding. One of the things that you do with clients is sort of try to figure out what their goals are as a company, what their target audience are, and sort of their values that they want their companies to uphold and to portray throughout their visual identity. And I really enjoyed this one because when it comes to this channel, I said I would like to think of it as like a sketchbook where it's sort of like loose and can vary from different emotions, and it can be fun at times and it could also be serious. So there could be finished pieces within a sketchbook, but there could also be those rough sketches and thumbnails. I want this to be a place of exploration. So, like, the top rules that I've highlighted was, like, don't be an asshole and we'll get along. To always try new things, and different things work for different people. Balance is very important to me. I find that a lot of things needs balance in life, and that life is a process, and that we should fall in love with it. Because that is really the only way that we can keep going with our lives, and especially when it comes to creating. So with that being said, the appearance is quite playful and really loose. It works very minimalistically in a way, and it's clean, but you can feel that there's this playfulness and that there's this little like hand-drawn type feeling. Now for brand colors, I chose blues because I absolutely adore the color blue. It's really calming in a way, but it could also be very deep, and it's very difficult to find an ugly shade of blue in a way, especially when it comes to other colors like green or yellow. And I think one of the reasons why I fell in love with the color blue was the meaning behind it is loyalty, and I think that's very important for everyone to experience and for people to have. So I did my little swatching of colors, and I made sure to get the hex codes and the numbers for it. The really cool thing was that just a bit blank, if you didn't know, there is that like blank space and then the period. The period is like this hand-drawn, and it's not a completely perfect circle. So I actually took that shape and I used that for the swatching. Even though it's like to the naked eye, you can't really see that it's not perfect. I know it's not perfect and that it's an actual period from my writing. Fonts, I've mentioned before, I have my hand-drawn font, which is my handwriting in actuality, and it's not to be used very often, just for things that really need to stand out, but for the most part I want to stick with the interstates, just because it's a bit easier to read, and it's a bit more uniformed, which makes it a bit easier to format as well. Now I'm going to move on to the logo. It's a bit confusing because on one hand I wanted to really keep the little icon of me as like a signature part of the channel, because that is me, and this channel is about sort of creating, and it's sort of brands around my creativity, and it's a one-man show over here. So I also thought it visually represents the channel as well, because I'm not really someone who falls in love with like mushrooms and has those cutesy things in my back pockets, and I also don't really have those really creepy monstrous things. There isn't really something that I feel like would represent me, so this is sort of the best that I could come up with. Yes, I know, a self-portrait, how brilliant. Still, it's a representation of me. It's a doodle, it's playful, it's fun, and it's a bit updated compared to the old one, and I've removed the hood of my hoodie because I'm sort of growing as a person, and I just feel like I'm not as closed off as I used to be, and I feel like this has a bit more shape and a more identifiable silhouette, at least. So in saying that, we have the different versions, like the primary logo, which would just be the initials of the channel. I thought it was really cool to do just a bit, and then to do the lines as like the blank spot, because that is what blank was initially supposed to be. It's supposed to be like the fill in the blank type thing that could be any adjective that is in there, or I guess verbs, because gaming would be a verb. And the hopes of the logo being like this would be that I could maybe change the colors accordingly. I wanted to start like a gaming channel, just some casual gaming stuff, because I am not an expert in gaming, and I thought it would be really fun to be able to either like change the color of that line, or maybe incorporate like the words that is associated with that channel in the future for this logo. On top of that, you will see there are variations. There are the letter variations, which fits inside, once again, that like hand-drawn period. And also just like, I really like the line and how it tapers as well for the blank part. And it adds a bit of contrast to the piece, and it just ties it in, and in a way it feels very graffiti-like. And the other thing that I did was sort of modify the A so that it can actually sit nicely crossing through the JAB. Hopefully that's not some sort of gang symbol. I can only cross my fingers and pray, but I thought it was really cool in a way, and very playful and artistic. You can have your own opinions, I suppose. I also have the word marks as well, which is the full channel name written out. This is just for long form, and I'm going to try to avoid that as much as I can, just because it's like a secondary, it's not supposed to be seen very often, but if I have to use something that fills out a horizontal space, at least I am prepared. And on top of that, I have the profile picture, which is of me, and I can switch between either the lettering or just a doodle of me. I have the rationale for the logo as well. You know, I said it's at this angle because I can't write straight to save my life. Very true. And it also makes it feel a bit more dynamic and more like a signature. It brings the lines between the A's to the B's middle section, and it crosses into the J, so then it sort of like ties it all together and doesn't make one letter feel separate from the other. Obviously this is my writing, which was very interesting. As I mentioned before, I got to learn how to make a font. I've explained the line, it's a bit blank. I just really like how it feels like it's hand-drawn in a way, like someone took a paint mark and just right across. And yeah, very interesting logo, and I've enjoyed it. At the end of the day, I really did enjoy the process of creating a brand, especially because since it's for my channel, I know myself a bit better than I would someone else's brand, and it was just really fun to put it all together and finally have a cohesive channel identity compared to the past where I didn't really know what I was doing. And maybe, you know, I can use that as a new signature or something for my art pieces. But yeah, it was just super fun, and I hope you guys sort of enjoyed this little ramble, a little bit of a dip into graphic design and whatnot and what I do. And yeah, I look really forward to using this visual identity a bit more around the channel and making everything a bit cohesive as well, so I'm pretty excited to put it into use. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys sort of enjoyed this style of content, even if it's just like a little bit, or just to sort of catch up and see what I've been doing, because it's been weird. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all stay safe, stay hydrated, and have a wonderful day. Bye!